Timotab, and today I'm going to solve Zipscrapers by Scojo. If you would like to try solving this puzzle for yourself, it'll be the first link in the description. Let's have a look at the rules. Normal sudoku rules apply. We're going to place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every box. Skyscrapers. Clues outside the grid indicate how many digits are larger than all other digits that came before them, reading from the direction of the clue. So I'm going to put in some digits along here. What are we missing there? And here we go. All right, supposing there were a clue here, then that's looking to the right. So from this clue space, we would see the 2 is larger than all digits that came before it. 3 is larger than all digits that came before it. 6 is larger than all digits that came before it. 4 is not. 8 is larger than all digits that came before it, and 9 is, and then everything after the 9 is not, because 9 is the highest digit. So we would see 2, 3, 4, 8, and 9. That would give us a 5 clue over here. If we had a clue here, 5 is larger than all digits before it, then 7 is larger than all digits before it, 1 is not, and then 9 is, and then nothing behind the 9 is. So the clue would be 3 here. The reason they're called skyscrapers, another way to look at it is if we represented the height of the cell as the value in the cell, and then we're saying how many buildings, how many skyscrapers we could see where taller buildings obscure shorter ones. So 2 is shorter than the 3, which is shorter than the 6, so we'd see all of those. 4 is shorter than the 6, so the 6 hides it, but then we would see the 8 and the 9. So again, we would get a 5 here. And then likewise over here, we'd see the 5, we'd see the 7, 1 would be hidden, and we would see the 9, so we'd get a 3 here. So that is how skyscraper clues work. Zipper lines. On lavender lines, pairs of digits equidistant from the center of the line sum to the central digit on the line. So these are all odd length zipper lines. We have a circle to help us identify the central digit. If this were a 9, then this could be a 1 and an 8. And this could be a 3 and a 6, for example. Okay, I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. Okay, a secret of zipper lines is I can't put a 9 on a zipper line except in the central cell when they're odd length zipper lines, because if I tried putting a 9 here, for example, then I would need to add something to it to get to this value, but I can't add anything that takes me beyond 9. So in this row, 9 must be here or here. In this column, 9 must be here or here. Now, if I have 9 here, I have nowhere for it to go in the row. If I have 9 here, I have nowhere for it to go in the column. So this must be a 9. And that seems like a good start. Where else seems obvious? Okay. 9 clearly can't go in any of those, so 9 could go here, here, or here. But if 9 were here, then these 3 cells would be hidden by the 9 for this clue. And that means that we would see a maximum of 6 digits. If 9 were here, we'd see a maximum of 7 digits. 9 can't go here by Sudoku, so this must be a 9. And now we can place a 9 in one of those. Okay, this is very clever indeed. This digit must be bigger than this digit, because this digit is the sum of this one and this one. Therefore, this 2 clue will see this digit and may not see any other digit. But if 9 were in any of these highlighted cells, then it would see this digit, and the 9. Same applies here. If this is not a 9, then it will see this digit, and wherever the 9 is here. So this must be a 9. And that means that that's not a 9. 9 can't go on these, so 9 must be in one of those. 9 must be in one of those. And now that makes this a 9. 9 must be in one of those 3 by Sudoku. It can't be there because of these 9s. It can't be there on the zipper, so that must be a 9. And now these 4 digits must increase because we're not going to see anything beyond that 9. And therefore, these 3 digits will be decreasing, and we will see this one and the 9 and not those 2. And these will be decreasing because they will be summing to 9 with the relevant digits here. Okay, 8 in this row I think is interesting. 8 can't go there because I'll have 2 hidden digits and the clue would have had to be a 7 at the most. So 8 is in one of those 2. And now 8 is not here. It can't be in any of those, so 8 must be in one of those 3. So this must be larger than all of these. So it has to be at least 6, and it can't be 7. Sorry, it can't be 8. So it's or 9. So it must be 6 or 7. Okay. If this were a 6, then this would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that way. So we'd see the 5 there, we'd see the 6 there, and we'd need to see 2 more digits. In fact, we know that 9 by Sudoku is in one of those 2. So that would have to be the 9. That would have to be the 8. That would be a hidden 7. Yeah, if we had the 9, if this was 6 and we had the 9 here, we'd see 5, 6, 9, and we wouldn't see enough. So if this was 6, we'd have to have 5, 6, 8 in one of those 2, and 9 there. But if we had 7, 8, then we would see the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 9, and this would need to be a 5. So it would have to be 5, 6, 8, 7, 9. But if 7 is here, that puts a 2 here, but we've already said this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or another way of looking at it is that if this is 6, 7 has to go there. That then becomes a 7 or an 8. 7 has to go there. That has to be a 7 or an 8. And those 2 add up to at least 15, not 19. So that can't be 7. That's the easier way of looking at it. Sorry, that can't be a 6. That must be a 7. Okay. So, right, these digits must now increase along here, because whatever digit is missing from these digits that all have to be below 7, that'll be hidden by 7. And therefore, we only have one hidden digit. No matter which cell it's in, it will be hidden by the 7. And so we'd see all of those digits plus the 7, plus the 8, plus the 9. So that means that that's the highest digit on this arm of the zipper. So we see that high digit, the 7, that can no longer be a 9 because we'll only see 3. That must be a 9, and so 8 is in one of those two. And then this will be the digit from this arm that is missing. And therefore, the two digits that go with the 8 must sum to 7. Because I'm going to have a digit here missing and a digit here missing, and yeah, all of these match up in pairs that sum to 7. And then I'll have one digit that's missing from there, which, if it weren't missing, would be summing to 7 with a matching digit on here. And if it is missing, it must therefore be summing to 7 down here. So but if they sum to 7, I can't have both of those being 8s and then these two digits being the missing digits, because if they were, they would simultaneously have to sum to 7 and sum to 9. Therefore, one of those two is an 8, and the other must be a 1. And now that we know that the missing digits are summing to 7, this has to be a 6-8 pair. Okay, so that is actually a pair. That's a 1-8 pair. And now 1 and 6 are missing from here. I don't yet know whether the 6 or the 1 is right. So it could be that we have either the 1 or 6 missing from here and either the 6 or the 1 missing from here. So if the 1 is missing from here, then we get 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if the 6 is missing from here, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Likewise, well, you can now use the fact that they sum to 7 to give us 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6. Okay. That all seems very interesting. Okay. Can 8 go on this line? And I think the answer is no. I can't put 8 here because we have to be increasing from top to bottom here. So the only place it could go is here. But if it's here, then that must be a 1 in order to sum to 9. But it can't be by sudoku. So that can't be an 8. None of those can be an 8. That means that 8 is in one of those. And therefore, this is an 8 by sudoku. And that means that 1 is not in any of those. Right, in fact, this digit must be as at least a 4. Okay. Right, 4 is, yeah, from 4 and 5 are definitely in those two, or in those three. So there's definitely a 4 and a 5 in there. There's definitely a 2 and a 3 in there. That matches. All right. So if 2 is definitely on here, 2 is definitely not on here, and therefore 7 is definitely not on there. This is a 7, 8, 9 triple. And that one's not a 9. That places 7 down here somewhere. All right. So 1 is definitely on this line and must go here in order to be increasing. So that makes this an 8. 2 must be on this line because it can't go elsewhere in the box, so it must go there. No, that's a 7 in order to sum to 9. There we go. And then these must be from 3, 4, 5, and 6. But we know that 4 is definitely there and 5 is definitely there, so actually we can remove 4 and 5 from those. That's a 3, 6 pair. 4 and, yes, 4 is definitely here by the column, 5 is definitely here, so yes, we could remove 4, 5 there. That removes 4 and 5 from there because of the sum to 9, but we know that 3 is in one of those two by the row, so that's a 6. That's a 3. That makes this 4, 5, and 6, which makes this 1, 2, and 3, and by the work we did earlier, that is now an 8. That is a 6. That's an 8. That's a 1. This is 2 and 3. And this is 5 and 4. That is very nice indeed. These two digits must be 1 and 6. These three digits must be 4, 5, 9, with that one not being a 9. Okay. So this cell cannot be, well, these three cells, even easier. Where does 6 go in this row? It doesn't go in any of those, so it must go there. And in fact, this 6 could have told me that as well. So these three digits now, by Sudoku, are 1, 3, and 7. These three digits, by Sudoku, are 2, 4, and 2, 3, and 4. But these two digits must sum to 9. So they must be 7 and 2. 7 and 2. Helps if I actually type it correctly. Okay, these 3 digits by Sudoku are 5, 6, 7. These 3 are 2, 4, 5. And this one must sum to 9. So that can't be a 6. And that can't be a 5. But could still work the other way. All right, that's not a 2 by Sudoku. Okay. All right, I'm going to start looking at this, I think. So I am going to mark cells that are definitely seen with blue. So I do not see that one because it is behind the 9. This cell is definitely smaller than that, so those 2 are definitely not seen. Right. These 2 are definitely seen. This cell is definitely not seen in this column, so I can mark that. This cell is definitely not seen in this column. All right. This is not 7, 8, 9 or 1, 3, 4. So that's 2, 5 or 6. That means that this cell, by summing to 9, must be 7, 4 or 3. But it can't be 3 by Sudoku, so this can't be 6. This cell sees 7, 8, 9, 2, and 5. So that could be 1, 3, 4, or 6. And that makes this cell 8, 6, 5, or 3, all of which seem to be valid. This sees 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, so that's 2, 3, 4, or 5. And this is therefore 4, 5, 6, or 7. Okay. Right, this cell is definitely seen by how skyscrapers work. And so is that cell. So only one of these can be seen, while at the same time I need to make 3 of those seen. Okay, if that was 7, then I could see an 8, but that would be it. So that can't be a 7. That can't be an 8, because if I could see, if that were an 8, then I'd see this cell, and the 9. So that can't be an 8. So that 7 removes 2 from here, and removing the 8 removes a 1 from here. So that places a 1 in one of those two, and an 8 in one of those two. And that all seems reasonable. Okay, this can't be a 7, because this can't be a 2, because of this 2 here. So that means that 7 is in one of those two. If this were 7, that would not be seen. This one definitely would be seen. So we'd have 1, 2, 3. I could have an 8 there, and that's seen. That could work. So if that was 7, yeah, if that weren't an 8, that would not be seen. Right, so if that was 7, this must be 8. If this is 7, then we could see, oh, if this is 7, then that's not seen. Because this is going to be, right, if this is 7, then that's 4, which has to be lower than this. So one of those two is not seen. And that's my fourth not seen digit. Therefore, that has to be seen, and that has to be seen. So this must be higher than this digit. So that can't be a 3, and this can't be a 6. And if that's not a 3, then that's not 6. If that's 4, 5, then this is 4 or 5. Okay, and now this is not seen because this is definitely going to be lower than that. This is not seen because that's definitely going to be lower than that digit. So this must be seen. And therefore that can't be a 2, that's a 5. That makes that 4, 3, and 2. That 4 makes this 5. That is 6, that sums to 9. That is 4, which sums to 9 with the 5, and that one is not a seen digit. That is a 7, which goes with our 2 over there, and that is seen. This now must be the 8 in order to be seen. That makes that a 1. And then this digit is the remaining digit in the row. That is a 3, and that is a 6. Very, very nice. That is no longer 6. In fact, that must be a 5. That's a 6. This 3 is making this a 1 and this a 3. This 4 is looking up. That is not a 4. That is not a 5. That is not 2. Okay, it feels like we are approaching figuring this out. So 6 can't be in any of those cells because the 6 is here. What are these 3 digits? This is 5, 7, and 4. That's not a 5. All right, maybe it's something on this line. This digit cannot be 1, 2, 3. Could be 4, Can't be 5. Could be 6. Could be 7. Can't be 8. That's just by plain Sudoku. So this would have to be 5, 3, or 2 in order to sum to 9. Well, it can't be a 2 by Sudoku, so that's not a 7. All right. So it must just be Sudoku now, and I just have to figure out where the pressure is. Where's the best place to look? Okay, ones. 1 must be in one of those two, but it's not that one, so that's a 1. 2 is not in there, so this is a 2-9 pair. That means that these 3 digits are from 6, 7, 8. And that means that that is not a 7. That's not a 6. Where does 4 go in this row? The only place for it is here. So that's a 4. That's a 5. That resolves the 9, the 5, and the 4 here. All right. This is 6, 7, or 8, but it's not a 6. So it is 7 or 8. That makes this a 6. I need a 1 in this column, which has to go here. That means that these 2 digits are from 3 and 8, and we know the order. That's a 3. That's an 8. That makes that 7, and that 8. These 3 digits, well, neither of those can be a 6, so that's where the 6 goes. This is now 2 and 3, and we know the order. That 2 makes this a 9, and this a 2. That gives me my 7 and 9 here. That gives me my 7 and 8 here. Okay, nearly done. These 2 digits are, one of them is a 2, which must go here, and the other one is a 7, which goes here. That makes that 4, that's 7, that's 5, 4 and 5 get resolved. This 4 resolves this 3 and this 4, and then our last 2 digits are 8 and 9, and we know the order. And that is a wonderful puzzle. It's very, very elegant with the way it's presented. The lots of symmetry and the fact that the skyscraper clues are only in rows and columns where the zippers exist. That's some very nice interactions between the 2 constraints. I really enjoyed that. Well, if you like this solve, then please hit the like button. You can subscribe to see some more. And I would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.